I like all the other outliers. I like to find any edge I can, and I think today we're going to find out how we can use thinkorswim as our broker tool to get a little bit more of an edge. So we're going to talk about sequential orders. We're going to talk about OCOs, which is one cancels the other orders. And then finally, the one I've been waiting for, Dave, because you teased this a couple of videos ago, is the walk limit order. So I'm excited here, Dave. Thanks for bringing this to us, man. You're awesome.
Yeah, happy to. There's some neat stuff in here that we're going to talk about today. Most definitely. So it looks like, Joe, from the chat and everything and a quick review that I did, we got several people that have put up some tickers that are interesting. If you want, why don't we talk about where to find my indicator first of all, and then why don't you take a look at Redwire RDW in Outlier? Okay. Let's see what that one says today in Outlier, and then we'll look at that on a review, and we'll use that for kind of some test stuff. So.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so as you mentioned, Dave, you have created an indicator that all outliers can use for free as part of their subscription. And so we store that inside Discord in the FAQ and member contributions section. And if I drop us off chat here, you're going to find the thinkorswim category here. So if we go ahead and click on that, we're going to find in here that we've got some direction from you, kind of talking about what's in here, how to use it, that sort of stuff. We're going to see that we have a separate order block only link here. We can get that indicator. And we also have the super trend indicator. Now, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the latest version. If you want to use the outlier,
I call that the super trend. That's just supposed to be the outlier super indicator. See, that's my mind going back and forth. But yes, that's the one everybody wants.
Awesome. Okay, so now that we know where it's stored, if we want to get some additional training on this tool, we have an entire playlist dedicated to the thinkorswim indicator, how to use thinkorswim, things like how to add your trend lines, how to add your labels, how to color code everything. I believe, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, there's even a position sizing portion to that indicator that we talked about.
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay. So good. So that playlist is there. The other thing you can do is you can kind of cheat here a little bit. If you go to the search function and you type in thinkorswim, it's going to show you all the videos where we have talked about that broker tool. So there's tons and tons.
We're getting a heck of a collection there, Joe.
Yeah, we are. And if you're a newer customer and you're like, I don't even know what thinkorswim is, right? Or I don't know how to use Outlier. You start with these launchpad videos that pop up here. Any of these that show that kind of space guy, those are our new customer orientation videos. So tons and tons of opportunity, but let's get right into it. You mentioned, Dave, a ticker called RDW.
Yes, and I'm hoping it's in Outlier. I didn't check that, but
it is.
It sure is. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that.
So let me tell you what I see. So you just picked this out of the sky. I don't even know what this is. I didn't review this. So let me tell you what I see. So the first thing that comes to my eyes here is a sell signal. So right out of the top, the left box here is a sell signal. I can also see that inside the chart. It's this red S here. And that is Outlier telling me that I should probably consider a sell on this ticker. I can also see it in the stock details section. It's telling me the current signal is a sell. The current signal type is swing because I have that selected. And also I can see what the current active signal would be. So if you're someone who's trying to learn or paper trade plan A, for instance, the active signal would be a sell. What else I see here in the fear and greed area? If I hover over today, we get a value of 87.05. If you've looked through the user guide, which is accessible right here, where is it? Right here. Accessible in the user guide, you'll see the tooltip that mentions if it's over 80, it's potentially overbought, right? Above 80, overbought. I can also see the fear and greed is declining. So there's some good signals there. The sector for RDW is industrials. It is declining slightly in terms of outlier channels. We've got 2 gray sections here. So that's going to tell me the outlier channel score is a 0. I can also grab it by looking right here. And I think I highlight my mouse here. You'll see that a little bit better. So outlier channel score would be a 0. We've got our outlier 9 that we can look through here. It reflects a lot of what I just mentioned. The nice thing about the outlier 9 is it's boom right there in front of you, and it gives you all that information right out of the gate. We've got a trend here, 10 over 20, price being in this area over the 50. So there's my analysis, Dave. Where do you want to go from here on RDW?
Well, it's got a sell signal. And I will tell you, because I follow the space subsector pretty heavily overall, it's not surprising. You know, right now there's a lot of excitement out there for the SpaceX IPO, which, by the way, talk to your broker if you're interested in buying those shares. Today is the day the brokers are going live on their platforms for the expression of interest. You have to go in and say, yes, I want some shares. So I'll be doing that in a little while when we're done with the show. I do want a few for my personal account. I'm not doing much, but you know, we'll see what happens there. But today is the day to go in and express your interest to your broker. So at least it is with Schwab. So, you know, if you're going to do that, take a look. But there's been so much interest lately, you know, in everything space related. And then, of course, news. Blue Origin blew up their, I believe it was the New Glenn rocket last week, sent everything coming back down because everything, you know, was predicated for a large part on the timelines for the lunar missions. And New Glenn was supposed to get everybody there. So thankfully, nobody was hurt in that. Thankfully, the damage is not as bad as everybody expected. But RDW does seem to be having a little bounce back today. So, yeah, and that's the reason why I included it. And I will say right now, everybody, this is not a recommendation to buy. I am solely using this as an example of how to do the sequential orders, the OCO orders. That's all we're using it for today, to look at the outlier analysis and see what outlier shows. Honestly, I would not be, personally, my style of trading, I wouldn't be putting any money in any of the space stuff right now anyways. I want to wait, let some things cool down a little bit, let it recover, let that fear and greed come back down a little bit. And then if the conditions realign, then maybe re-enter some positions. But that's the disclaimer for the day.
Awesome, Dave. So I think the best way to go from here is to do some sharing of thinkorswim.
I think so. So let's see. Let me share a screen here for us, and we will start off.
Yeah, and as Mr. B mentioned here, isn't there a band from the 80s? Mr. B. It was Mr. Big. It was not Mr. B. Yeah. RDW opened 20% today. That's a nice jump, isn't it?
That's a great jump. And I'm going to drag this window up so we don't look at ourselves and thinkorswim. So now we have thinkorswim. Now we have that up and running. We have our outlier super indicator here for thinkorswim running. I have just a simple standard default. So this is reflecting what a $100,000 account would look like at 2.5%. But what I liked about this chart for our discussion today is we had no order blocks overhead. We're actually in clear air. It hit an all-time high for the last year on 5/28. So mid last week, we hit an all-time high for this. So this is in clear air. That's why I kind of picked it. A lot of the other names that I saw, and a couple of them that passed through the outlier scanner today, they had order blocks sitting just above them, which, given the market the last few days, is not a surprise. I mean, we've had a little pullback here, as we can see on this chart. So there's definitely been that movement there. So let's start talking about what we want to do. So right now, it says I could trade 6 contracts or 453 shares. Now, today, we're going to focus on shares because it's easier to explain the sequential and the OCO orders by using shares. You can use absolutely, and I'll give an example of this in just a bit. You can absolutely use it to go in and buy your options contracts and control them. But I have to caveat here, trailing stops and mechanical stops on option contracts are extremely dangerous because you will have float and slippage that will happen, excuse me, because of low liquidity. So in other words, your contract could be great all the way through the day. You're making money, and all of a sudden at the closing bell, it goes wide, and you get taken out because your stop is sitting, down here. It goes wide because there's no longer suddenly any interest in the last 5 minutes of the day or over the lunch hour, whenever. You get taken out of a position because that value is artificial. And there are people out there hunting for those movements when they happen, just to see if they can get lucky and get a very advantageous fill at your expense. So I don't recommend using mechanical stops at all on options. On stocks, your bid-ask spread is much tighter. It works much better. So let's go through and buy some shares here. I'm just going to do them in 100 share increments. So we're going to go in and we're going to buy. Now, here's our standard buy order that just popped up. Now, if I was doing a single order where I just wanted to click and send and buy this, I would just confirm and send right now. I'd click that send button and send it out of my paper account here, and we'd go buy that. But I don't want to do that today. I want to run, let's do a sequential. Now you'll notice first triggers sequential. So in this case, when the first order triggers, the next order will trigger as well. But I still, after making this selection, I still only have one. So I need to add a counter order. So I'm going to create an opposite order. And to do that, I came over here to the 3 bars, far right corner. Most people overlook the settings wheel and this little icon over here. We're going to click on that. We're going to create the opposite order. And look, now I have a sell limit order that just came in. Now, what I want to do is we're going to put this in here. Let me see here real quick. I want to look at a quick chart. I want to see what direction. Okay, we're going up. So I'm going to go back to the daily. So if I put in a limit order, they're unlocked. And let's put it in as we're going to use this as a market order. Okay, I'm going to sell at market now because I want to demonstrate what's going to happen. Because I'm using sequential, the limit order is going to go in. If you don't pay attention to how your sell order is set up, what's going to happen is it's going to instantly sell. So you see right here, we just popped in. I bought 100 RDW and I instantly sold 100 RDW. So you got to watch how you control it. So let's set it up the right way now. So we're going to go in. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to buy. I'm going to do a sequential order. Okay. We're going to put in the opposite here. Click the opposite. But this time, let's put a stop in. Now, this is trading at 22.68. So I'm going to put in a stop on this of 22. Okay. So this is going to be our floor. This is my emergency exit. Get me out. I don't want to be in here and play anymore. I will have lost roughly 10%. That's unlocked, so it'll trigger. We'll put that at the mid just to trigger it. And we're going to send it. So now I own RDW. I own 100 shares. And we can see now my mechanical stop is now set at $22. So now that can sit there forever. And it'll come back down and it'll kiss that and get me out of the position. But this is never going to change. Unless I go in and manually change it, that stop is always going to be that stop. So you're going to always have to come in and adjust it, move it up a little bit. And by the way, for shares, you can do this. You can come in and click and say, no, I want it down here now. You can click it on your chart view on the shares and just move it around. You can't do that with options, unfortunately, but you can do it with shares. So now let's get this one taken out. I'm going to move it up here. Boom, it's gone. Because the price is below that level, it just took me out. That's our example for that. But let's build a more functional one. So we're going to come in and we're going to buy, again, 100, but I don't want sequential this time. I want to build one closes another. And we're going to come over here and we're going to add opposite order And I'm going to create a duplicate order now because I'm copying my sell order. So now we have 3 positions here. Now, I want this to be my stop. Get me out. Okay, and I want my stop to be, let's just use the same 22 again. But now, let's say I want a trailing stop. So when this thing goes profitable, I want a trailing stop of 50 cents. So as it's going up, I have my floor that we've created. It won't go any lower than that. But now I have a trailing stop, and that trailing stop is going to follow it. But because one closes the other, whichever one hits, that other order disappears. So we're going to send this now. And it's going to wait, of course. Always takes a moment. I'm going to modify our purchase order. Oh, there it goes. I don't have to modify it at all. So we'll go back to our charts. And now what I have is I have a trailing stop order that's running and a stop order. So we have both of them in play right now to protect us. So as it goes up, that trailing stop will start advancing. It'll start following up. So now we've created a tiered approach with things. So this works really well to protect you. Now, one thing I want to point out, you'll see we've got this little icon here. Hopefully we can see that on the big screen. But what that shows is that there's 2 orders linked together here. And that's important. That's what we want. So we have our linked orders here, and you can see over on the far right that they're linked. This little one I've got sitting here, this is an error actually in thinkorswim. This is something that should have sold a long time ago automatically and didn't. But we have these 2 orders now linked over on the right. So that's important. You can see where your linked orders are. Now, let's go ahead and just cancel these. And what I should have done is cancel the OCO group. So it'll take just a moment. The second one will cancel. Oh, it'll disappear here in just a moment. Maybe. There we go. Now, I still own the Redwire shares. So let's say I just went in and I bought them. We still own 100 Redwire shares. Let's create a closing order now. We're doing it a different way, as you can see. We're going to create a closing order with an OCO bracket. So same thing. I want my stop limit. Let's put in 23 right now. And then I want a trail stop. I'll just say 10 cents. And oops, we don't want that. That's too high. We want 22. 22 will work. So now we've just gone in, and now we have our trailing stop right here. And we have our limit order. Oh, and it just backed up and it hit the trailing stop. So it took us out. So this is a good way to enter into a position where you can control things a little bit better dynamically. Now, we can also do this on the active trader. So if I come over here to the active trader and I want a template in active trader. So again, I'm on stocks, and let's go to, well, we can use ES, that's fine. I want a trigger with a bracket. So now I have brackets created, and in this case, it's going to take profit. So let's just say I want to take profit at $5, and I want to stop out at $1. Now, here's the interesting thing. You notice on active trader, I'm not entering a price yet. There is no purchase order on this. But if I come over here, look at what I have. If I enter the green, you see my trailing stop is following me. My trigger for the stop loss is still more than $5. I actually have to zoom way out to get both of them in there. See, there we go. So now if I came down here and I wanted to buy when, this is a good example. I want to buy when the price comes down to 75, 78.50. I want a stop out $1 under my entry and take profit at $5 above my entry. That's the order we just put in. Now it hasn't executed yet because the price isn't there. It may come down and kiss it here in a minute. But you can do this in Active Trader just as easily as you can with other ways to do it. You can do it through, the regular purchase. Come on, clear out. Get rid of that. There we go. You always want to make sure your orders are canceled. You don't have one hang firing out there. I have had that happen. But this is a good way to do it. You can build in all sorts of different custom templates that you can use. Now, let's go back to trading here. RDW, I'm going to create another one because I want to show you a way to do this. You don't have to do it every single time. So let's say I'm going to buy, and we're going to just say I'm going to buy market because I'm buying right now. I'm anxious to buy. I want one triggers another. I want to add in an opposite order, and I want to create a duplicate now. So I have two cells, and we're going to go and say I want to stop out at, well, hell, we can look at this a couple different ways. Now let's keep it right there. Let's just do a stop at 20. Let's do a trailing stop of 15. Yes, let's go broader. It's moving right now. 50 cents. So now we've gone through and we've created this template. What we can do now is come over here and save it. So we can save the custom template. Now, how do I get there? We get there by, we're going to delete that whole thing out. We're going to right click up here again to buy custom. And now I have my brand new entry that I just created. Now you'll notice right as we came in, this price moved. It's recognizing the price gap that's created here for this. And it will continue to move as long as this is unlocked. So you can go back and forth. Yeah, now it's, the stop is now 22.22 because it's moved. It gives you a really good way to control everything. But now I have a template that I can just click in. I can drop my template in. I can make a few little adjustments based on what it is. So let's do that. Let's go to, somebody mentioned Costco in the chat. So let's get Costco. We're going to right click, buy custom. I want to use my custom order here. And look, now everything has filled in. Now, we don't want a 50-cent stop on Costco. We might want a $20 stop on Costco. But now we can go through, confirm and send it, and that order will fill in just a moment. And it did. And you can see we still have our one closes the other link between the two. So this is a really neat way to go through and do this. Now, there's one more. There's one more. And this is something where a lot of outliers actually might use it. And goodness, excuse me. The winds were blowing here horribly yesterday, so my allergies are kicking up. Let's look at trading. Let's trade RDW because I know RDW is very liquid right now. Let's say I want to buy that's a good one. I actually think I like this one the best, the 67. It's nice, tight bid-ask spread. We're going to buy this. But I don't want to buy it now. I trade at the end of the day. Why would I want to buy red wire now? So we're going to come over here to the settings. And this is where you get a whole nother pop-up window. And I'm only going to go through the time function on this. You can set this up to trigger based on all sorts of criteria, but this is a much more in-depth discussion. So, looks like our Costco order just filled on the trailing stop. So looks like it took us out of that position. So no big surprise there. But back to this, I want to submit an order, but I want to submit it today. I'm in Arizona, and this is set for your local time. So I want this to enter my trade 15 minutes before the closing bell. I want a limit order, and I want it set to the mark. So from that point, I can go in and grab mark. So I'm grabbing the middle range for that options contract. It may not be the best. It may not be the worst. I'm just taking my chances. But now I can submit this buy order on those options contracts. I'm buying 10 of them up here. And that order, I just saved it, will now go in. And now it's waiting for its trigger, which is 12:45 p.m. And at 12:45 p.m., it will now go through and buy that at that mark price. So now we have an order in. I'm good to go. That's the commitment I wanted to make today. I could also build this in with an OCO. We'll get into some other ways to do this later on that are much, much more involved, where you can trigger the exit from an option contract based on the underlying equities price in that same format. But again, when you automate things like that, you really got to watch the bid-ask spread. I don't recommend doing that, but there are ways to do that, or to tie it to a study, or, you know, when the price breaks the 10 EMA, get me out at the mark. There's lots of ways you can do it. But this is a good, easy way, kind of a 10,000-foot view of sequential orders and OCO orders. I don't recommend sequential as much unless you're really paying attention. Like I showed you there, you can go through and accidentally, put two orders in that cancel each other out immediately.
Ooh.
And I did one the other morning, and I'll give my mea culpa for it. I did one the other morning where I went through and I entered based on a MACD crossing. So when the MACD on the daily crossed after 6:45 a.m., I wanted to mark it up. I didn't want it fluctuating. And then I wanted a trailing stop tied to the MACD crossing negative on me. I entered on the daily, but then I accidentally I exited on the 4 hour. So both orders, I did it twice, both orders went in and immediately exited on me. And thankfully, it was a test. It was 25 shares each. I actually made 20 cents total between both of them. But I was looking at my phone at the time going, wait a minute, why did I have a buy and a sell order simultaneously on this? Well, it's because I had the wrong conditions set. So there's a lot more to learn on that front, than most people realize. But these are really a good way to help control just different ways to go through and do your entries. And do we have any questions here from anybody right now before we get into the walk limits?
I don't see any yet. Woofta did mention it's important to learn what orders to take and what orders to avoid, but I don't see questions in particular. Just as a reminder, if anyone does have a question, if you put in #Q in front of the question, it makes it really easy for us to catch.
Definitely.
So Dave, while folks are typing in any questions they want, let's go ahead and kick it over to the walk limit order. This is the one I'm most excited about, because sometimes when I place orders, Dave, they don't get filled because I'm kind of cheap. I don't want to pay any more for this thing than I have to. And I think this will be a nice little kind of cheat on how you can get that order price increase done automatically. So
it's a great way to do it.
Let's have a look. Now, as soon as we share the screen here, let me know if there's any audio problems, because I don't want to record 8 minutes with no audio. Here we go. Dave, let's take a look at how to do a walk order in thinkorswim. That's something we've talked about in the past. There's a lot of interest around it, and I personally would love to know how to do this. So take it away, Dave. How do you do this?
Absolutely. So first of all, we are demonstrating this in a live environment. A lot of what we do, I show on the paper trading side, just so we can walk through, we can make mistakes and everything. This is a live trade. I am putting this on right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a couple of contracts. We're going to walk through it a couple of times just so that everybody can see it. But it's an interesting concept in that it goes through, it allows us to start at the bid, end at the ask, and it goes through and incrementally, as you'll see, ups the price at every time set that we decide to. So let's click it here. I have already decided this is going to be a leap position for me. So I'm going in long-term. This is not a short-term position. This is a long-term position. This is a long-term thesis that I've got. So I'm looking at the December. Actually, that's right. We want the December up here. I want the December. Where are we at? I'm sorry, the January 2027. That looks better now. Sorry, right year, wrong month, wrong end of the year. So we're looking right now, I'm looking at the 17. So I'm going to go just out of the money on this because, again, this is about long term. This is going to be, I don't want to say a buy and hold, but it's going to be more of a buy and hold type of a position. So what we're going to do, in this case, it meets my requirements for that. I mean, we've got, 10,000 open interest over here. There's a lot of interest in this. We've also got another, 2,000 of this contract traded, hit the button, traded just today. So we've got, and of course it's going to freeze up on me. But so we've got, on this one right here, we got, 10,000 open interest, 2,000 volume today. This is amazing volume for something that genuinely is 6 months, 7 months in the future. That's not normally what you see. But that's also part of the thesis on this for me. So I am buying this. We're going to do this live. So we're going to click on the bid just like we normally would. And we're going to come down here. Instead of being a limit order, I'm going to make it a walk limit order. Now, so we can take our time. I'm going to drill this down to 1 second or 1 penny increments, and I'm going to bump it up so we can take our time on it. So we're going to go 5-second increments. And it's going to start at the bid at 420 and go all the way up to the ask at 435. Actually, is it not going to let me do that? It's not going to let me do that because of the increment. We're going to have to do it in 5-cent increments here. As you can see, when I dropped it down to 1, we lost our confirm and send. There are limits built in. Some of the smaller ones you can get away with doing pennies. You can just go in and, chop it up and see where you land. In this case, I'm going to add 2 contracts. This is supplementing an additional position I already have. So we're going to add a couple of these in a couple different times here. But it automatically set it up for the bid. It automatically set it up for the ending price at 435, 5-cent increments, and we're going 5 seconds. So let's click confirm and send. And here's what this position will cost me. So $841 for that. And we're going to send it. Whoops. Okay, so it's giving me an error. Okay, it's giving me an error because the price on the bid changed. So we got to put it back in, walk limit, 425 to 435. I'm going to talk less this time and click the button. We're going to bump that up again. And now it's churning in the background. So we're going to go up to monitor the working orders here. Oh, and it sold at 430. So now we have our new position here for Nokia. I'm going to close those up. We have our brand new position here at 430. So it hit mid price. I mean, we were only 10 cents wide here. This is an example of a live trade I'm doing. But you can imagine, say that bid ask spread was 50 cents or $1 even. It's going to go through, take its time and work its way up. But it started at 425. We didn't get a purchase at 425. It had to roll up and take that next one up at 430. So this is a good way to kind of guarantee you're getting the best price in that exact moment. This is what it's going to sell for. So we'll walk through that one more time. We're going to go back up to trade. I'm going to grab Nokia again. I'm going to add another 4 to this. It's lock limit over here. And it's going to go from 425 the bid to 435 the ask. We already know in this case the minimum is that 5 cents. And I'm just going to kick it up. Let's give it a chance here. Let's give it 10 seconds. Then we'll send it. And now we're going to wait. And we're going to wait. And we're going to wait. Hopefully 10 seconds. And then we're going to get that ding because it should hit at the mid price, hopefully. You can see under working orders, it's now at 430. It's trying, but the mark went up. So it's probably going to hit and because thankfully, thinkorswim gives you best fill as well. It didn't go all the way up to 435. It hit at 434. So we know that that was the best fill that we could get for that order in that moment. Now, I'm down $8. That's fine. We all know that's the slippage that happens when we take these positions, but that's how the walk limit works. We've been able to go through, establish 2 positions with the best available price on the walk limit, trying to find where the market actually is sitting in that bid-ask spread. This avoids having to go in and do a limit order and then bump it up a penny, bump it up another penny, or, you know, when we do that manually, it could take several minutes to try to find where the best price is. This takes care of it automatically for you. So it's a feature that I love. It's a feature that I use. I wish I could show it on the paper trading side so that we can, you know, play with it a little bit more, but this is a live trade. We just put it on and, you know, we'll see what happens with it.
Well, thanks, Dave, and thanks for running through the fact that this may not be a trade for other folks. Certainly, if you're not someone who trades leaps, this probably isn't for you. And also, this isn't based on signals that are publicly available. This is just Dave's personal signals. So,
yes.
You know, disclaimer: this is literally for demonstration purposes. We're not recommending this trade at all.
Correct. And by the way, by the time the public sees this trade, it's going to be a few more days. So you're not even seeing this one live. I will tell you right now, we're doing this on Monday of this week. We're doing it on June 1st. This is my style of trading. This is my algos. This is my analysis. This is what I am looking at. So by the time you see it, this will either work or it won't. Maybe we can talk about, you know, we rolled it on Thursday when we do the live show. But to do this, we decided to go in, record it just a little bit early so that we could do something on a live trade that I was taking that looked good, that met all of my rules, and we'll see how it plays out.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
Anytime.
Well, thanks for that, Dave. And as a reminder, we had to record that because you can't do the walk limit orders in the paper trading environment. So that was a real trade Dave put on. It was a leap. I guess, you know, the question's got to be asked, Dave. How did that end up? What's the trade doing now?
You know, it was beautifully in profit yesterday. And then Broadcom and it was a CrowdStrike came in with their earnings and tanked anything even remotely AI related in the overnight. Thankfully, the trade is still working. Now, here's the benefit. I'm in leaps. I got all the time in the world. You know, am I happy that that trade went halfway to my exit in the overnight? No, not in the least. But I'm looking at it right now on my monitor. I am like 30 cents away from where we entered the trade on Monday. It's recovering beautifully, not worried about it at all. That's why time is always your friend. Mm-hmm. It takes care and weathers those little, you know, singular events that tend to cause the market to move. And I haven't looked at Broadcom or CrowdStrike today. I don't know where they're sitting at the moment, but you know, both of them took pretty hard hits last night, 50 points minimum each. You know, when the earnings came out, and I thought they did well on the earnings. I just think they, you know, they kind of blew it overall, probably on the forward outlook. But you know, I'd like to say I rolled it. That would have been wonderful, but I didn't.
Maybe in a future video we'll have the
future video. But I do want to talk about one thing here to do, you know, when we're talking about putting these orders out there for your benefit. There is one other thing that you can do if we're ready for that.
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and do that. You will have to share your screen again because I stole it from you.
Oh, Dave. Yes. I'm so sorry, Joe. Let's get this shared back over and entire screen. We come to this one. Boom. Now, there we go. Now, while we were watching that video, I went in and on the paper account, I bought 10 red wire calls. And what I want to do is, this is a good way, if you've got something that's going up and you know you want to just kind of let it to roll, we're going to go in, and I just bought these. We're going to buy the calendar because that's the way thinkorswim works. And remember, when we roll, unless you need to go out in time, you're going to always have to change the date and you're going to have to come back over here and then make sure it's the buying side of the equation and then roll it up. So now in this case, if I wanted to roll this right now, I could pull 55 cents off the table. But why would I do that when I can pull 75 cents off the table when it gets to that point? So now I can put this order in. I want to say it's good to close and then send it. And now I have an order that's sitting out there that is going to automatically roll my position when the value hits 75 cents, which is about, if you're getting 75 cents on a $1 wide roll, you're doing pretty good. You're getting money off the table. You're protecting that position. It's exactly what you want. But this is a way you can do it. So you can go in and put that in to take care of that. Now, could I also go in and do it sequentially? Probably could. I have to play with that a little bit, but conceivably you could set this up in a ladder and go and roll and roll and roll. Now, the red wire, unfortunately, this one, yeah, it's still at zero. We haven't made any money on this one at all, but so there's no money to play with at the moment in that. But it's a great way, if you've got something that's just running up, hey, I want to roll this today, get me to at least that next strike up. You could conceivably put an order in right now and do that. I have that exact order sitting right now on my Nokia trade that I entered on Monday that almost got there yesterday. Didn't quite hit it, but when it does, it will. And it'll just automatically, pull that profit out for me, reestablish that new position on a roll. I'll be good to go. I just need to note that it happened, log it into my trading journal, and be good to go.
Awesome.
So lots of little tips and tricks.
Yeah, that is a cool tip. Now, I don't know for sure if I'll use that because I like to run the calculations like on the extrinsic and the spread and that sort of stuff. So if that's something you're going to follow, make sure you understand that those variables are going to be there for you. We do have a question here. Is there a quick way to show earnings on thinkorswim charts?
Yes, there is. Now, let's walk through this. So first of all, you will see on my charts right down here, we have earnings. Okay. This is something I have on every single chart. It is the standard default. I want to see that information. So under time axis, it's showing corporate action. You don't want it to auto expand to fit corporate, but you do want that in there. I'm trying to remember where the setting is, or if it is just a default. Corporate. Boy, it may be a default. Check the bottom of your chart. It may be a default in there. Auto expand to fit the corporate actions are always going to be down there on the bottom, but that should be there. Now, if you want it in the indicator, under the super indicator, we have show the earnings label, yes or no, and you have a look ahead period. So we could put in 30 days if we wanted. And it's going to show every earnings in the next 30 days. Now, who knows of a company that's got earnings coming up soon? Anybody know of one? I don't track them as closely as I should. I look at them on an individual basis.
Yeah, I'm just checking here, and I'm not seeing any on the ones I'm following. We just left earnings season. That's the tough part.
I know we did. Let's let me jump through a few tickers here and see. Lunar, no. Rocket Lab, no. Archer, whoops. Archer, no. Joby. I'm trying to pick some of the more random companies out there.
How about IoT? That one might be, or DocU.
DocU, I think, has one. There we go. DocU is today. So now you can see the earnings is 0 days. It is today. And I think it was before, nope, it's going to be after the market today. So we have down here in the low corner, it says, and it's really tough to see. That's just the way thinkorswim has it. But they're saying basically a 0.379 cents per share is listed. And that's the estimate. Now, if we come back to this one, if we hover over that, They were 34 cents a share estimated. They came in at $1.01 actual. Now, somebody, Woofda01, just mentioned that it's under the equities tab. Thank you so much. I knew it had to be in there somewhere. I knew I had seen it. So show corporate actions. It's under your equities tab under settings. So the wheel, settings, equities, and it's right here, and that will take it on. As you can see, they just disappeared on and off of your charts. Now, I've never actually played with show CNBC video. I don't know what in the world that does. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's rather interesting. I've not seen that. So now we have a new little icon that has popped up on the chart. That's new. I haven't seen that before. It's popped up on the chart to show that there was a CNBC video on that specific day and what they were talking about. That's interesting. So we discovered something new. That's rather interesting. Now, would I use that? I don't know. I don't really watch CNBC videos. I prefer to read my materials, but it is what it is. You can also show, your strikes. You can show some information out there as far as what's coming in. You can see the expiration dates for the different 8 strikes. And you can get, whoops, it's not going to give me any data here. That's actually new too. I don't think I've ever seen that. It's a feature I don't need to use because I know when they expire because I go in and I look at them. But if you needed that, you could do that. They also do have a social sentiment score down below. This is a social sentiment ticker. And it basically says, what's happening on social media right now related to this particular stock. This is another one of those features I don't really look at. I think whether we want to hear it or not, we do hear quite a bit through Wall Street bets as far as what's going on and what isn't. I do find it important to show the extended hours trading session. And then you can highlight the extended hours, which basically grays out those areas. But let me show you one other interesting thing. Right now, this is set to the day candle, which is the trading day. If you come over here and you go to a time frame, intraday, we're going to adjust this first. We're going to make it 24 hours, and we're going to go, let's just go 360 days. So I have a 24-hour ticker, 24-hour candle for 1 year, which is the same thing I had before. But now all of a sudden, the candles are based on the market hours and the extended hours. It gives you a little bit of a different view. So you can kind of see what overall is happening. And I've just started playing with this to see how much benefit it is, because we know during the extended hours, it's low liquidity. You can get wild swings on a lot of the different equities, but it gives you an interesting way to look at it as well. So just different ways to, learn to use your charts and look at things.
Awesome, Dave. Yeah. Well, thanks again. You're always giving us these awesome tips. So we learned about sequential orders. We learned about one cancels another order. Mm-hmm. And then we wrapped with the walk limit orders. And remember, you can watch any of that content over and over again at your own pace at Outlier Training with Joe. And then you even gave us some bonus tips, Dave. So you really went above and beyond.
We worked a few bonus tips in, and thank you very much to Wolf. I knew the corporate actions was in there somewhere. I just could not remember what tab that thing was hiding under. So thank you, Wolf. I knew it was there. I would have found it in another minute or two, but that's right. The fun of doing things live.
That's right. Now, all right, Dave. Well, I
just wanted to cover real quick. Okay. We've had a lot of questions, a lot of comments in that poll we did about creating custom scripts using ThinkScript in this, along with ChatGPT and some other stuff. What I want to do here, I'm going to challenge our audience, and I'm going to pick the best one. So I need you guys to post, send me a note, whatever, for what custom script you might like us to go through and try to create for the group. Now, I'm prefacing this, it's got to be for the group. So it's got to be something that can benefit all of the outliers. But I'm challenging everybody. Think of something that doesn't exist right now. Think of something that's a combination of different things. We'll go through, we'll create it live.
That would be cool.
Hopefully it works, but we'll go through, create it live on air, probably in just a couple of weeks. But let's do something fun. Let's create some custom Think scripts, custom scanners. You know, there's all sorts of stuff you can do with Think scripts. So think about what you can do. Let us know. Send Joe a note, send me a note, and let's do something fun.
Yeah, I'm looking forward. I'm going to put a vote in, Dave. I've already got the brain moving here.
Please do.
Awesome, Dave. Well, we will catch you again. Usually we do this every 2 weeks, so we'll see you all at the next one. Thanks again, Dave.
Thank you, everybody. Happy trading.